Hey everybody, welcome back. We are on part 2 of our semester exam review. Today we're going to be doing problems 20 through 23 and then 25 through 30. Again, I'll be putting the questions up nice and big for you, so if you want to scroll through and find the video that you would like to see first, you can do it that way. So we're going to go ahead and get started with question 20, and here we go. Okay, so the first one says explain how to prove angle K is congruent to angle N. Well, that's that whole CPCTC stuff that we talked about. Corresponding parts of congruent triangles are congruent. So what that means is if I can prove these two triangles congruent, then I can prove their two parts are congruent. So what we got to be able to do is see if I can create an order of letters here that match the letter of orders here. If I do, then I can say that those angles are congruent. So I'm gonna do the easiest way that I see. I'm gonna name this triangle over here. Remember, you got to put the triangle sign. So I got my triangle sign, and I'm gonna go with the markings and an order in which the markings are given. And if you look, there's a 1 dash mark, and then a 1 arc mark, and then a 2 dash mark. So I'm gonna go in that order. I'm gonna go along where I hit the 1 dash, the 1 arc, and then the 2 dashes. So it's going to go 1 arc 2. When I do that, the order is H, J, K. And that triangle is congruent because it's side, angle, side. And this one has the exact same thing, side, angle, side. So I know that they're congruent. And I can go there. And I have to go the same order. So I went 1 dash mark, 1 arc mark, 2 dash marks. So here we go. 1 dash, 1 arc, 2 dash. So I have to go in that exact same order. So we got L, M, N. Goes in that order. Now you could have named these however you want, as long as the order or as long as your order in which you trace it on the other side is the same. It doesn't matter what the order of your letters are, but your H's should match with your L, your J should match with your M, and your K should match with your N. So if these two triangles are congruent, then these two parts right here are congruent because of CPCTC. So again, just say lots of C's, lots of, just remember we used to say CPCTC. Yeah, basically same thing. So that's it for question 20. Question 21. We're going to do that one next. And it says identify a pair of congruent corresponding sides. So I'm going to move this over a little bit so we can talk about that. This is all about matching. On this triangle, there's 3 sides. I'm just going to number them for you. So this is side number 1, this is side number 2, and this is side number 3. There's 3 sides. So I'm going to name side 1 first. And I'm going to use the letters in alphabetical order. So B and C. That's side 1. So I'm going to say side BC is congruent to. Well, I got to figure out what it's congruent to on the other side. Well, when I look over here, I started with B, which had 2 arc marks. I passed through 1 dash and went to 3. So 2 arc marks to 3 arc marks. Over here, looking right there. There's my 2 arc marks. There's my 3 arc marks. So it's going to match with EF because I got to go in that same order from 2 to 3. So that matches with EF. Okay, that may have been an answer you gave. It said just name one. I'm going to name them all for you. Side 2, I'm going to do alphabetically AC. What is that congruent to? Well, if I look, AC goes from 1 to 3. So over here, I'm going to do 1 to 3. So that'll be DF. Okay. And then the last one, side 3, is AB. And that goes from 1 to 2. And here I'm going to go 1 to 2, which is DE. Whoops, I put that in the wrong spot. There we go. So that is question 21. We're on to question number 22. So question 22 says complete the statement. So I got to use some of this information, the if then part. Okay, it says if QP is congruent to QR, then, well, I got to remember we always mark our picture. So QP is right there. So I'm going to mark that side is congruent to QR. Well, QR is over here. So that's congruent. So all this other stuff over here, I don't need it because we should be able to figure out what kind of triangle that is. What kind of triangle is that? Scalene, isosceles, equilateral. Well, we talked about this. If I have two sides that are the same, that's like having two eyes. Isosceles. So it's isosceles triangle. And what we know about an isosceles triangle is that if these two sides are the same, then the two angles that they're connected to are also the same. So I can mark all that already from my picture. So let's go down and look at our options. Which one of those says that angle P and R are congruent? Well, it's not on my paper, but it is option D. Angle P is congruent to angle R. So does letter D. I didn't have it on mine. You have it on yours. Okay. Alrighty. That was it. Question 23. Give me a second to get on that page. Okay, 23 has two parts. So 23, if you look at it, there's part A, part B. So as you're studying these, and we talk about, I've got my Fab 5. So I've got side, 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 angle, angle, side, angle, 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 side, whoops, and hypotenuse leg. Those are my 5 I can pick from. So I got to figure out, can I do that? Well, in order to mark a side congruent, it either has to be marked already. Well, that's marked and that's marked. So that's one thing. To mark sides congruent, you need a couple things. You need the reflexive property. Okay, or in a proof, they might tell you that you have a midpoint. Okay, those are the main things that we see, but there's nothing here. There's no proof. There's nothing telling me that there's a midpoint, but I do see the reflexive property. We've talked about that a lot. So MP on the one triangle is MP on the other triangle. Okay, we got that. So that's for sides. But for angles, in order to mark angles congruent, if it's not already marked, the only things that we've kind of really talked about is if they give me vertical angles, I can mark those. So let's look in our picture. Do we have any vertical angles? Nope. And if they give me parallel lines, because if they give me parallel lines, then that's a hint that we're either going to do alternate interior or corresponding angles. Well, there's no parallel lines in this. There's no arrows that are on the lines, so I can't mark anything else. There's nothing else to mark. So this one's not possible. Can't do that. So that's part A. Part B, we're still going to use our Fab 5. They've already marked 3 things for us. Okay? So what I like to do, we talked about that. They've already got that marked, so that's a side. This is marked, and that's an angle. And that's marked right there, and that's a side. So as I go around the outside, if I start this way, it's SAS. Or if I start this way and work around, it's SAS. So no matter which way I do it, this one's SAS, or what we used to say is sassy. Alrighty. We are on to question number 25. Okay, let me get that set up. This is a very popular question that we have seen multiple times. talks about a right triangle. So anytime they're talking about stuff, it's always good to draw a picture. So I got a right triangle. I'm going to draw that. Put that in there. If this angle is 90, these two have to add to 90. So that means they both have to be less than 90, and that's where they get the acute angles in here. There's two acute angles. There's one acute angle. You can't, well, it's right there. And the other acute angle. Well, it says one acute angle is 4 times the other. Well, I don't even know what the first one is. So if you don't know what the first angle or a number is in math, we give it a variable. So we're going to call it x. You can call it whatever you want. M, B, R, T. Okay, you get the point. That's x. If this one I don't know, but this one's 4 times that size, I'm just going to say 4 times x, or 4x. Now there's two ways to do this. The way we talked about in class the most was that we know these two add to 90. So I'm just going to say 4x plus x equals 90. If I combine those, I get 5x equals 90. If I divide by 5, it gives me 18. Now the question says find each angle. Well, x is 18. We've got that one. But now I got to do 4 times 18, which is 72. So that means that this angle right here is 72. Okay, that's the way we've done those problems. All right, that was it. So we're on to question number 26. Okay, number 26. 26, 27, those all kind of relate to this question or this picture over here, so I'm going to make sure I get that in for you. So it says name the intersection of plane R and plane ZVY. Well, plane R, I'm going to color it in a little bit. Plane R is just this bottom part. Okay, there's plane R. And then plane ZVY, remember when you're using, if you don't have a big kind of cursive-y letter, you got to use 3 letters. So they're saying ZVY. So to kind of describe that, that would be like the left side of this pyramid. So they want to know where those intersect. Well, they intersect at the letters VY. So that's my answer. That's where they intersect. 2 planes intersect at a line. In this case, we're just going to call it a segment because it's just a part of that rectangular pyramid. Okay, so that was it. That was 26. We're ready for 27. 27 deals with the same plane or the same picture. This one's shown up quite a bit this year. But I'm going to name the planes in order for you to see them. So this red plane, okay, I'm just going to call it red. That's plane number 1, okay? And then we got to talk about this pyramid. Well, we've got the front, that's one side, the back, that's one side, the left, that's one side, and the right. So a question I got students who were already working on this today was, well, what about this part inside and the red? Is that 2 separate parts? No, it's not. So I'll color it in just so you can see it. But the bottom of this, the green, is sitting on the red. They're sharing the same plane. So I don't count that twice. So if we count, we got the red or the bottom, front, back, left, right. How many planes? 5. That's it. On to question 28. Okay, on 28, I'm not quite sure. To me, there's not enough information. This could be angle addition, where we do a little plus a little equals a big. But they don't give me a value for this whole angle. They want me to find the angle. So that's kind of a giveaway, and usually they'll tell you that this is an angle bisector, or they'll put little marks in here, and that's what I'm going to do. So we're just going to assume that those two parts are equal. So SRU is 2x plus 1. URT is x plus 2. So again, if they would tell me that this big angle was like 100 degrees, I would do little plus little equals 100. Or if they told me this big angle was 50, I would do this little plus that little equals 50. But they don't give me a value for that. So we're just going to assume that these two are equal. And again, usually there's more information. So we're just going to set those equal to each other. 2x plus 1 equals x plus 2. Okay. And let's subtract x on both sides first. So that gives me x plus 1 equals 2. Subtract 1. That gives me 1. But the question, and remember, this is the big change from algebra to geometry. They're asking me to find an angle. Sometimes it'll say solve for x, but this one says find the angle. So I got to plug. They want the answer to. They want to know how big that is. So I got to plug x in. I got to plug this value in right there, and then add them together. Little plus little equals big. So 2 times 1 plus 1 equals 3. 1 plus 2 equals 3. Add those together, it's 6. So the measure of angle SRT is equal to 6. Remember, it's equal because we put a value here. We don't put the congruent sign. Okay, that was that. On to number 29. Whoops. There we go. Question 29. They want you to solve for x on 29. The instructions aren't there. Again, my paper's a little different than yours, but they want us to solve for x, and this is kind of going back to the last problem. I know that I'm probably going to have to do something with these little angles. I'm going to number them 1, 2, and 3. Angles 1, 2, and 3, I got to do something with them, and that's always a sign that we need to combine them. And when I combine them, the big angle that they make, I'll highlight that in yellow for you. The big angle that they make is a 90-degree angle. So this is angle addition. I'm going to add the little angles, 1, 2, and 3, to make the big angle, the yellow one, which it's 90 degrees. So here we go. X plus 3 plus x minus 1 plus x plus 1 is all going to equal 90 degrees. Okay, so let's combine like terms. I'll underline those. My like terms are x, x, and x, which makes 3x. Then this is a like term, that's a like term, that's a like term. 3 minus 1 is 2, plus 1 is 3. Subtract my 3, 87. Divide by 3, 87 divided by 3, 29. And this question just says solve for x. Now, it might ask you to solve for an angle. You would just take that and plug it in to whichever one you needed. And now we're ready for our last one, number 30. Okay. Number 30. So on this one, you got to ask yourself, I've got segments, so am I going to add those together to get the big one by segment addition, Well, in order to do that, they will tell you how long this is. They might say that this is a length of 50 or a length of 85. But they don't give me the whole length, but they do give me a hint here. They say a midpoint. And if this is a midpoint, then that means that this part is equal to this part. It's cut it into 2 equal parts. So if they're cut into 2 equal parts, I can set them equal to each other. So I got 3a plus 1 equals a plus 9. I'm going to solve for a, so I'm going to subtract a on both sides. Gives me 2a plus 1 equals 9. Subtract by 1. Divide by 2. Okay. And it just says solve for a. It doesn't say plug it back in. If I plug it back in, I'm going to get 13 on both sides. And that's a good way to check and see if you got it right, but you don't have to. Okay, that's it for this lesson. Much shorter than last time. Hopefully it's been beneficial. I've had a lot of good feedback. Don't forget to like this video. Don't forget to subscribe. I'm getting there. I'm almost at 50. I think we will do some sort of celebration if we get up there over 60 or 70. I don't know. We'll see. Thanks for checking out my video, and we'll catch you next time.